said shush. Why are you so hurt by it?
You finished your argument. You got your last word. Carry on.
I don't understand why you're shouting at me.
You're shouting at me. I told you, if you want to be in my conversation, walk up the stairs. Like, walk up the stairs.
What are you shouting at me for?
Production are very sleek. They're very sleek. There are certain islanders that they want out of the villa. They didn't need to have a vote for couples. They should have said vote for your least favorite or your favorite islanders, and then the people would have gone home. But because they know that at times viewers like one person in a couple, this is why they've said vote for your couple. And then also the audacity to have that movie night that's very biased. We've all watched for the past 3-4 weeks, and we've seen how terribly some of these islanders have behaved. So to have one person be painted as the villain and everybody else as angels, I'm not buying that nonsense. The drama, the love triangles were unnecessary. For them to put Tony in that situation with Harrison was unnecessary. For them to put Shakira in a situation whereby Connor is asking to explore something is unnecessary. He's only doing that because he knows his couple is boring. Emma hasn't brought in anything that he expected her to bring in. And the fact that he's always complained about the girls being confrontational and suddenly wants to couple up with Shakira, I'm happy Shakira is questioning it. Anyway, and then Meg, Dijon, Harry, and Helena deserve each other. The audacity to watch that and not be confrontational to one another doesn't make sense. I feel like they're worried that if we confront each other or if we fall out, then we lose a vote. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island UK, Season 12, Episode 35. I don't know who I'm more upset with, production or the islanders, but I think it's production mainly, followed by these girls and how they're letting the boys slide by with their nonsense. Because at the end of the day, the clips that we were shown were unacceptable. They were unacceptable. There was a lot of bias. How come we didn't get to see Ben saying all the nonsense he said to the girls? Why would we just pick up from the movie night having ended? What happened to the rest of the clips? Was there not enough reaction, or did they want to sort of paint certain islanders in a certain image? That way everyone can go after them. I don't get it. Anyway, you have Ben and Andrada having a conversation. Ben is feeling some type of way. I think he's feeling embarrassed because he's realized that although Andrada was flirting with him and making out with him in bed, she was also flirting and saying the same thing or maybe more to Dijon. So he feels some type of way about that. He was asking, I'm worried because of what people are saying and the perception that people have. That's what he more or less implied. And it's like, you have to think for yourself. You knew that she was interested in you. You knew that she was interested in Dijon. You took the risk and brought her back to the villa. So it's up to you whether you want to continue to explore it or not. And then he complained that, why do you keep involving yourself in other people's business? And it's like, they're sitting there, it's movie night, everyone is giving their opinion. What did you want her to do? Even when she was included in some of the beef, what did you want her to do? Did you want her to just keep quiet? I don't get these guys and their issue with girls sort of speaking up for themselves. He was complaining, why were you involved in everyone's business? I don't think she was involved in anyone's business. I think she was mainly involved in things that had to do with Meg. And when Meg was bringing her name in, that's when she got involved. She just didn't get involved out of the blue. So I don't get why Ben is saying that. You have Shakira and Tony go to the fire pit. Well, they were laughing because they were saying, oh my God, did you hear what Helena said? Helena is two-faced, Meg is two-faced, because it seems Meg has been making herself out to be the mum of the villa and sort of pretending to say all the nicest things about the girls to their faces. And then they didn't realize that she was going behind their back. And then, they also brought up the fact that Dijon and Harry are very manipulative. Yes, I agree with that. They do manipulate situations, especially Dijon. He's so slippery that you'll find a word that sort of meets whatever agenda he's after, and that's what he'll hold on to and leave the rest of the conversation alone. This is why he fell out with Billikis, and this is why Meg always struggles to have a conversation, because she's not quick enough to sort of hold him down when he starts being slippery. Harry and Helena deserve each other. They really do. Helena is not upset because he embarrassed her. She's upset because now everyone is looking at her sideways. Because she's complaining that you're making me look stupid. And it's like, no, he's not making you look stupid. You are making yourself look stupid. Because every single time he does or says something, you do not hold him to account. You do not confront him. You're very non-confrontational. It seems like you're just there as a guest. As long as he gives you the little crumbs that he gives you, you're happy. My perception is this. I think that Helena, because of her body image issues, before she had all the work she had done or before she lost all the weight, she was very insecure and she struggled to get guys. So the fact that she's finally managed to land Harry, she's excited, and she won't do anything to jeopardize that, including putting up with crap, because her only beef was the fact that why did you say to Shakira that you wouldn't do to her the things that you're doing to me? Had you not said that, she would have been fine. And the fact that she complained that, oh, other islanders or bombshells complained that, why do I allow you to treat me the way you do? And it's like, it shouldn't be about how Harry treats you. It should be how you feel, not what other people perceive it to be. They spoke about boundaries. And for her boundary to be that you shouldn't tickle any other girl, it's like, seriously, are you for real or are you joking? How the hell does that make sense to you that you're saying that tickling your somebody's arm is your boundary? What about him speaking better about you? What about him stopping flirting with anybody else? How about that? Why not put it as an umbrella? Why have to identify tickling? What's so special about tickling that makes you feel like you need to sort of call that out separately? So Harrison and Lauren go to the den to have a chat. And personally, I don't understand that couple. She's asking him, what did you say? He's pretending as though he doesn't know what he says. He knows what he said. He was flirting with Tony. And Tony actually said it on camera, to stop flirting with me. And Shakira confronted him about it and was asking him, you know, if you really don't like Tony, leave her alone. Continue with whatever you're doing with Lauren. Don't try and bring up any emotions from Tony if you know that you really don't feel anything for her. And so for him to pretend to be naive and not understand, I don't get it. Cash and Tony were talking. I love that he brought the Josh sense of sort of problem solving situation, because he said to Tony, it would have been nice had you told me that you still cared about him, because it's one thing for you to tell me, it's another thing for me to be sitting in front of everyone and then seeing you cry. And she said, he's someone I cared about. Yes, when he was away, it didn't affect me in any way. But the moment he came back, those feelings came back, because now I have to sit there and watch him. And it's like, Tony, I wish you could just put Harrison to the side, because you're dealing with a grown man, a man who's giving you everything you've wanted in a connection. Why else would you want to entertain this genius? Please. So Harrison then decides to pick up that moment to come and have a chat with Tony. I don't know whether production told him to go or whether this was just his genius idea. And Tony said, why are you here? For him to say, Tony, you're creating problems. What has Tony done? She's not creating any problems. You know what you said. You can't ask everybody else to tell you what you said when the words came out of your mouth. I don't get it. Tony brought up the things that he said, and she said, leave me alone. And it's like, she needs to set stronger boundaries. I think she was falling in love with Harrison. This is why she's so weak, and this is why she continues to allow this idiot to play her. Otherwise, she should have moved on by now. In the den, you have Ben with Lauren, and you also have Lucy with Tommy. And Lauren is upset because she's saying, oh, why won't he tell me what he said? Why won't he tell me what he said? The girls are refusing to tell me. And it's like, the girls have no allegiance to you. They don't owe you anything. He should say what he said. Because at the end of the day, if they repeat what he said, he's going to refuse and say, no, I didn't say that. So let him open his mouth and say it. And for Ben, after apologizing to Tony, to open his top and bottom lip and say that, oh, don't worry, you brought out something out of Harrison that Tony was not able to do. So then if that's the case, why is she worried? Why is she worried? Why doesn't Harrison leave Tony alone? Because I feel like to Harrison, this is a game. So we finally get a conversation between Meg and Dijon. And personally, what do I think? I think Meg is desperate. I think Meg came into the villa thinking she was the bee's knees, thinking like that she was going to be the girl that all the guys were flocking to. I think she was going to have the Shakira effect on the guys, and sadly this didn't pan out for her. It seems Dijon from day one was the only person who paid her attention, and I think this is why she stayed. And when she realized that the guys weren't sort of finding her as attractive as she expected, this is why she started saying, I'm the mummy of the villa, I'm closed off, because we all remember her saying she couldn't see the color of Dijon's eyes, which meant, she might date a different sort of ethnic group to Dijon. And now suddenly she was in a situation whereby she was stuck with Dijon, she had no one else, and she had to make do. She's had to make do. Now she's getting towards the end. She's realizing that she might have wasted the time. She needed to have explored other people. That's the impression that I get. Because you have Meg and Dijon sitting down and having a conversation, and they're sort of questioning why their friends Harry and Helena were questioning their connection. They thought, they had a strong connection. She was worried that he was calling, Andrada baby girl. Why did you call her baby girl? Tell us the significance of baby girl. We want to know. We want to know, did he play you with a monologue from Scandal or what? And he told you baby girl as an alternative to Sweet Baby. Is that why you're so stuck on that? I didn't quite get it. And Dijon on his part was saying, I closed things off with you. Closed off Dijon is different to a single Dijon. I was single. That's why I was flirting and doing and saying everything that I want. I get her question that why is it within 2 days you suddenly change your mind when you haven't been able to sort of make that decision in all the 5 weeks we've been together. So I get where she's coming from on that part. But at the same time, I'm sort of questioning that what's so special about him calling someone else baby girl? What's so special that would make you sort of throw a fit like that? The problem with Megan is she has never been able to hold Dijon to account. And so now that she wants to try and hold him to account, it's a bit too late because he has been able to get away with a lot, as he and Harry have confessed. She complained that he's playing games. And I think that was a sore spot for him, given the fact that he had just watched his best friend and his best friend's girl that he championed for his best friend to get with say that he's playing a game. I think this is why she complained that I'm not a mug. He then stormed off because he kept asking her, do you want us well, you should have asked her, do you want us to break her off? Because he kept saying, that decision could be reversed. That decision could be reversed. I don't think Dijon likes Meg. I think Dijon was able to sort of put his feelings on hold for people like Malaysia, Bilikis, Caprice. But with Andrada, there's something about her that he really likes. And this is why he's sort of kicking off and sort of making... He intended to flirt with her in the villa for as long as possible, realized that he was going to lose Meg. Then he changed his mind and he decided to close things off. And now he's in the situation whereby he likes Andrada, but at the same time, he wants to keep his place. This is why he's sticking to Meg. And then you have, suddenly the clique has new recruits, Lucy and Lauren. Well, birds of a feather flock together. So I guess this is where they are aligning themselves. Or maybe they realized that they couldn't fit into the other group. So they decided, well, might as well go and join this and make ourselves part of the four. So they're just a replacement for Meg and Emily. So they're trying to console Meg because Meg is crying. And surprisingly, Lauren, although she was further away from Megan, she is the one who got first to Megan when Helena was there. Helena is a useless friend, in my opinion. So Andrada and Ben went for a round two. They had a conversation. Ben, if nothing else, I know we say he's dumber than a bag of rocks, but I think he looks amazing. So if nothing else, he can do some modeling work and get paid for that. Anyway, they have a conversation and Andrada is saying, what makes you feel like, I don't have feelings for you? My flirting with Dijon was just surface level. So what is it in particular that I've done that has convinced you that I'm just using you to be in the villa? Ben couldn't come up with a reason. He said he really likes her, but it's just people speaking had him thinking some type of way or sort of questioning whether or not, she really was serious about him. I get it, I really do, but at the same time, he has to make his own decisions. The Islanders are getting ready for the night. You have the guys in the bedroom sort of asking Harrison, what happened? Harrison waits until the guys are separated and then he runs to Harry to tell him that, Tony was telling me that she was happier with me than she is with Cash. And it's like, well, do you think, that's something you should brag about? I don't get it. You then have him sort of confiding in Helena and Megan and saying Shakira was harsh. And it's like, yeah, she was harsh for a reason. She's not crazy that she would just out of the blue suddenly start being harsh. So I don't get why you're doing that. And then you have Helena and Megan. The double standard is shocking, and it's in a few seconds of us watching it, because first off, she heard Shakira speaking with Tony and she went and she was eavesdropping and listening to what was being said. Then suddenly she is now kicking off. Make it make sense, because she listened to Shakira and Tony speaking and she said, let's go and sit close by so that we can see if they continue. Shakira is not bothered. Tony's not bothered. They're going to say whatever they want to say and not even blink an eyelid. So the idea that she thought she could intimidate them by sitting close by where they can see them is just appalling. She was crying because she feels like Dijon has wasted her time. She deserved better. He's wasted the opportunity. She's wasted 5 weeks with him. And it's like, he didn't hold you down. And then the audacity, because So Dijon passed by and he said, why are you talking about our business to everybody in the villa? Why can't you sort of come to me? I feel like he should have asked her, you know the problems we're having with Helena and Harry. Why do you think it's a good idea for you to confide in Helena? Why not come to me once things have settled down and have a conversation, or approach any of the other girls in the villa? It would be better than you speaking to Helena. Anyway, so while this is going on, you have Andrada say to the girls, shh, let's hear what's happening with Dijon and Meg. And then the audacity for Lauren and Lucy to run all the way across to where Megan was and say, Andrada's just told us to shush. It's like, why are you telling her? What about Meg makes you think she will make an ideal friend? What about those two makes you think, this is where we want to hitch our wagon to? Because even Meg came, she said, watch this. I think she expected to create such a scene and intimidate Andrada, and then everybody sort of big her up for doing that. So for her to go and try and sort of confront Andrada, and then Andrada stood her ground, oh my God, amazing. Everybody was standing in the hallway at one point because the boys couldn't understand. Even the girls couldn't understand. What I liked is once she started, Yasmin went boring. Because they're all tired of it. At the end of the day, she always has smoke for the girls. She was called out for this by Alima to say, if you have smoke for the girls, have smoke for the boys. Andrada has nothing to do with her guy flirting with her. She needs to go and confront, her guy to say, why were you flirting with Andrada? And leave Andrada alone. In the bedroom, Andrada, so they had to be separated. Andrada went into the bedroom. Tony was saying, she's just trying to protect her friend. No, she's not. So for Megan to walk in and say, you need to keep quiet. For what? I'm happy that Andrada didn't keep quiet. For what? Who are you? You don't run the villa. Why should I keep quiet? Because you said we should keep quiet. I don't get it. At one point, they were separated by Dijon. He had to pull Megan away. I think he's realizing that if they're vulnerable and if Meg alienates the villa, then they are going to be voted out. I want them to go. I really do. But I hope we have a favorite girl and a favorite boy vote. That way Megan can be sent home. And then let's see what happens to Helena. Because Helena has been sort of standing in the shadow of Megan. Even with all this confrontation, one would have expected her to stick up for her friend. She didn't say anything. But had Megan continued and gone below the belt, I'm willing to bet anything. Shakira, Tony, Billikis, Yasmin would have tagged in. And so it's up to Meg to sort of focus on her man and focus on her best friend and leave everybody else. Anyway, the islanders go to sleep. So in the morning, the mood in the villa is very low. People are feeling some type of way, especially after movie night. There were a lot of issues that came up, and then there were a lot of fights that took place after movie night. So people are feeling some type of way. You have Megan and Dijon. They go to the sunbeds. And I'm just side-eyeing them because I'm thinking, what exactly is going on with you two? They sit down and they start throwing everybody else under the bus instead of addressing the issues that they have in their connection. This has always been their problem. Last time Dijon was throwing Helena under the bus. Now we have this man literally throwing everybody else in the villa under the bus. I didn't like that you had 4 girls coming after you. Why were the 4 girls coming after her? They are not crazy to suddenly come after him. After her, sorry. She must have said or done something that caused them to come after her. It's not something that's just happened out of the blue. For Megan to say, I don't like anyone here. And it's like, this is the issue you were having with Shakira. You say all these things behind people's back, but you can't say it to their face. Say it to their face so that they know exactly how you feel and they'll move accordingly. Don't be smiling in their faces and saying, we are a team, we're a team. And then as soon as they turn their head, just suddenly saying all the nastiest things. They were upset about the fact that Harry and Helena called them game players or called Dijon game players. And it's like, at the end of the day, the two of you are game players, as much as you don't want to hear that. Because if you were not game players, you should have confronted the issues that came up as a result of movie night 1. You should have sat down with your friends and had a conversation about what they said. 2, but you are after this storyline that you're aiming for 1, and also you don't want to lose a vote if you alienate your friends. This is why you're not confronting Harry and Helena, and you'd rather just push it under the bus and pretend like you're blind. You have Harrison and Lauren sort of sitting there having their breakfast. Harrison is telling Lauren, you're the only girl I like, you're the only girl I want to continue to explore, I really like our connection, and he wants to move on with her onwards. And he says, And so she's complaining to him that, you need to stop saying whatever you're saying behind my back because you're not going to get away with it. He's refused to confess to what he said to Shakira and Tony, and he's decided to play ignorant and pretend as though nothing happened. But we all know he did say something. He's always flirting with Tony. She even said in the clip that stop flirting. So the idea that this girl is thinking that this guy is all into and is listening to his nonsense, I'm not buying it. Especially after seeing the clip when he was told by, Harry that don't worry, when you get to my level, you'll be able to get away with anything. He says, I got what I wanted, so I'm not open to exploring with anybody else. And at that moment, Tony pitches up and she pulls him for a chat. And it's like, Tony, why are you pulling him for a chat? Leave him alone. You've already heard him and seen him on camera, sort of telling you that he's not interested in you. He doesn't have a spark with you. So why do you feel it's necessary to explore a connection with him? They sit in the den, and he's saying, well, they're more or less flirting, and he's saying he likes what's in front of him. I feel like he is saying what he feels he needs to say, but at the same time, he's flirting with Tony because he knows that his couple without Tony is boring. So if he stays with Lauren, the two of them will go home. And this is why he's flirting with her. That way people will say, oh, but he might get back with Tony. Let's keep him in the villa. I want him to go home. I really do. And I don't know why Tony continues to sort of accommodate his nonsense, because he's shown her who he is. She needs to believe him. She needs to stop sort of looking at him through rose-colored glasses and thinking he's something that is not. You have, Cash in the meantime speaking to Yasmin and Andrada, and he's complaining that, I really like Tony, but I don't like the idea that there might still be something there going on with Harrison. If she doesn't like me or if she doesn't feel me, she needs to let me know. That way I can move accordingly instead of me wasting my time sitting around waiting for her when she is not, interested in me. I don't want to be anybody's second best, which, yay, kudos to him. He has every right to sort of say and behave the way he feels. And the girls are trying to reassure him that Tony really likes you. Don't mind Harrison. He's just being an idiot. It's just they were together for a couple of weeks and there are feelings there that need to be sorted. I hope so. I really hope so, because it would really be sad for him to have his time wasted by Tony, irregardless of what's going on. You have Meg and Helena sit down and they're having a conversation, and Meg is saying, she'll always have Helena's back, but she felt some type of way about the comments. And it's like, have a proper confrontation, address issue by issue by issue that came out. Don't brush over the surface. For Helena to say, we really don't talk about you, well, maybe this is the first time we've been shown. Maybe you've had conversations about your friends before, so we can't just say, just because this is what you said, we're going to buy it. We have, Shakira and Connor, they sit by the fire pit. Connor is being strategic. He's being strategic. He's never shown any interest in Shakira. So I'm surprised as to why he wants to explore things with Shakira. He's always said he doesn't like girls that are confrontational, and Shakira, if you look confrontation, her face is right next to it. So I don't understand why suddenly he's decided that this is the moment to explore a connection. I love that she said we're friends, and I have to put our friendship first, and hopefully he puts his friendship with her first and leaves her alone. We only saw a few seconds of Billikis and I didn't quite understand. So we saw her sitting on the terrace with Boris and they were flirting and they're channeling, positive vibes. I think they're a cute couple. I think they're very peaceful. It seems on Love Island, if you're in a peaceful couple, you barely get screen time. It's only when things start going left, or unless production want to follow your storyline, that's when you get airtime, which is really sad for them. You have Dijon finally sit down with Harry and they're having this back and forth, and he's saying to Harry, you are my closest friend. You know how I feel about, this woman. So when you say that, we don't have a spark and stuff, I start to question what is going on. And it's like, well, the two of you are friends. The two of you have to decide what you want to do about your friendship. You have to also hold each other to account. Being friends doesn't mean that, you just support everybody's nonsense. They did bring up the girls and how the girls were going after Megan. And it's like the girls were not going after Megan for no apparent reason. She knows exactly what she did. She knows what she says. So that's why the girls came after her. And then you had the Islanders get ready for the night. And Harrison knows what he's doing. I think he must have sat down and analyzed the whole situation and realized that his couple is boring. And this is why he's telling Tony to come to the terrace, because he's looking for a storyline. Because he knows as long as he's got a storyline going, then production is going to keep him on the show. Tony then followed him to the terrace, and before she went to the terrace, after people picked up their drinks, you had Harrison walk off, and then Tony followed, and the girls were like, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" So part of her squad was saying, "Where are you going?" and she didn't say. I would have expected her to tell either Shakira, Yasmin, Billikis, or Andrada, but I think she thought if she told them, they would pull her back, they wouldn't allow her to go. So this is why she sneaked up onto the terrace. Yes, she didn't just fall into his arms and kiss him, and I'm hoping the edits are making it seem to be something that it's not, because it sounded a lot chop chop chop. You couldn't quite make sense of the conversation. First she was telling him to get rid of Lauren, why, we didn't know, and there was no promise that she's going to couple up with him. I think if she still wanted to couple up with him, she would have kissed him. I have a feeling, yes, they're going to try and play it out like the Mimi and Ayo situation from last season, but I don't see Tony sort of continuing with that. I think she likes the flirting and whatever, but hopefully, Harrison goes home and we don't have any more of this nonsense. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 33, or is it 30? Yeah, 33. Bye guys.